And in response to the strikes on Iran, protesters gathered in Brewer yesterday. It was organized by Graham Plattner's campaign and brought together advocates for the end of military action in Iran. In addition to Plattner, multiple candidates in the race for Maine's 2nd Congressional District attended, including Matt Dunlap and Paige Loud. Anti-war veteran organizations also had multiple speakers there.
We, the American people, are being sold a lie about what the United States military is doing and has been doing in other countries and in every war since the beginning of time.
In a Facebook post advertising the rally, Plattner encouraged Senator Susan Collins to utilize her role as a swing vote in the Senate to help bring this conflict to an end. In a statement, Senator Collins emphasized the need for military actions to come with congressional approval, saying, quote, "Sustained combat operations require full engagement with Congress. There are important questions that will be discussed in the Senate's classified briefings with administration officials." You can read the reaction of other Maine congressional leaders on our website.